Today we are going to cover a privacy coin that is taking over the market right now. Currently, this thing is up over 44% in the last 24 hours, and you can see 50% in the last 7 days, 67 in the last 2 weeks. So we're going to talk about this. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, but let's go over this. So the coin we're going to talk about is called Canton, and it's a pretty interesting coin. I'm gonna go over the numbers first. 3.9 billion in market cap, and then we have fully diluted value 3.9 billion, 30 million in trading volume. Kind of low, especially since it's pumping. I don't know how that works, but I'll tell you how that works. That just means there's big money inside of this. As you can see, the circulating supply, total supply are pretty much both the same. So we don't have much, or if any, of a locked supply from what I can tell here. But what we are seeing currently is infinity for max supply. So that means that they can continue to create coins. So we'll see how that goes. They probably have like a deflationary thing, or some type of deflationary thing that'll help keep that at bay. Maybe not. I don't know. But anyways, let's talk about what Canton is. They say where finance flows, the power of capital markets meets the real value of blockchain. So they're saying you can unlock digital asset liquidity with Canton, the only public chain with privacy. I mean, they all say that, so it is what it is. But yeah, here is their Twitter here. They've been growing pretty fast, and they just launched like last month. So it's pretty interesting. They have their whole about page. If you guys want to come here and look at this, I'm more into the numbers. We're going to do a technical analysis on this thing. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, right? But for all you people that want to look into their financials or look into what's going on, you can do that, which I'll go over a few stuff on the website before we start doing a technical. But if you want a real full breakdown on the fundamentals, you don't have to go somewhere else for that. We're going to do some technicals here. But anyways, their about page, it says the Canton network is the only public permissionless blockchain purpose-built for institutional finance, uniquely combining privacy, compliance, and scalability, governed by the Canton Foundation with participation from leading global financial institutions. Can enables real-time, secure synchronization and settlement across multiple asset classes on a shared interoperable infrastructure. So pretty much they have on-chain liquidity, on-chain, everything. They're putting everything on the chain. They want to see ETFs on chain, treasuries, US treasuries. They want to see those on chain. They're going to pretty much be putting everything on chain. Any type of security you can think of, they're putting it on chain. So that's pretty much what they're doing here. And then they say over here, using DTCC and digital asset partner to tokenize DTC custodied US treasury securities on the Canton network. So they're doing treasuries and stuff like that, US treasuries on their network. So that's pretty interesting. And as you can see here, a privacy preserving layer 1. So, it's one of those privacy coins that's also trying to do the I was about to say DeFi, but this isn't DeFi. Like when you look at it, this is central fi, right? This is CeFi, right? Central CeFi. But look, this is central fi because when you start to see these blockchain companies working directly with working directly with people inside the Fed, right? That this is pretty interesting. I don't know if they're working directly with the federal government, but they are doing US treasuries and securities. So that takes some type of insider info to do. But anyways, you can go ahead and look at their ecosystem if you want. 6 trillion on chain. So yeah, I think something federal is going on with this. 4 trillion per month in repos, 300 billion plus per daily repos, 600 plus validators, 30 super validators. And as you can see here, 21 Shares offers a large suite of cryptocurrency exchange traded products, ETPs, and pretty much the ETF version of the stocks. And inside of crypto, they're calling it ETPs, exchange traded products, right? So it's pretty interesting to see. They have a bunch of people, in their ecosystem. So that's interesting. They got the developer area here if you want to come here and develop on here. You can see they have a bunch of different tools and stuff to help you guys with that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. 24/7 on chain financing, crypto derivatives,
They say
and
money never
stablecoin
sleeps,
payments. Those are just
except when
3 of
markets close at
the
4
use
p.m.
cases that they're talking about here.
and on weekends.
So yeah, you guys
That's
check
opportunity
it out if
lost
you want.
to lend,
But
to
let's
grow,
talk
to make
about what people really want to know, and that is what's going on with the pricing here. Why did it just pump? And quite frankly, some people are thinking like, how long is this pump going to go for? So that's kind of what I want to talk about here, because it is currently pulling back. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna do. But we're gonna talk about this, guys. So anyways, again, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. But let's go ahead and cover the technicals here. So currently, the percent R trend exhaustion here on the 4-hour chart is getting rejected at a overbought area. It's overbought right now. So you're probably going to see a pretty big pullback. Now, let's go ahead and click the MACD here. We see a lot of buying pressure on the MACD on the 4-hour chart. So we're seeing a little bit of selling here with that red candlestick. We can come back and bring it down to 2-hour chart now. So now you're seeing the candlestick is even larger than what we thought. The selling pressure here. Good resistance though at 0.097. It was resistance, so now it's support. So good support for us. So we'll see if it continues downwards. But the MACD is showing a little bit of weakness. This lightly shaded red candlestick could be an indication, or lightly shaded green candlestick could be an indication that sellers are about to come in. So we're going to start seeing a lot of selling coming in here. But we'll see how long it can stay overbought for, because if this thing stays overbought for an extended period of time, the price will continue to go up. But if we see the percent R trend exhaustion continuing to pull back like it is now, all the way down, the price will drop down a lot before it goes back up. Now, it could also come down like a quarter or half of the way, just like it did back here, both the short term and the long term trend, right? And the blue line is the long term trend, the white line is the short term trend. So we would like to see it come halfway down. It's obvious it's coming down, but how far will it come down before it goes back up? So that's the real question. If it continues down further, we have other support areas here that you could watch out for. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna get for you guys right now here. You can kind of see me doing this actively live. Well, we're not live, but you can actively see what I'm doing here. I'm just finding the different resistance areas where it pulled back and different support areas as well. So you can see there was some resistance here at 0.093, and then we had some more later on at that same level. Then we had resistance at 0.09 on the dot. So that was also something. And then we had some resistance at 0.082, my bad, 0.082. And then we had support at 0.082. And then a little bit more back here. It used that as a retracement support before it kept going up. So these are the levels that you really want to pay attention to inside of Canton. If this thing is to continue to pull back, like I was saying here, if we see it stopping about a quarter of the way down, kind of like it did here, and then continuing back up like this, then we would be looking for somewhere around 0.09, right? And 0.09 on a dot, because right now we're at 0.096, right? And then if we seen something different coming up, like let's say we see this going all the way down to the oversold area, then that's when you see the massive pullback that brings us all the way down to about 0.079, or even as low as 0.055. So again, I think this is why I didn't say it this time, but I say this in all my videos. I think that this is the wrong time for these projects to be launching. I mean, it's better to launch when everything is bullish, but I guess this way they can launch and then they can really perfect the product. They can really perfect the project before they continue to ramp it up. But yeah, this thing is completely overbought right now, so I really wouldn't be too focused on buying. I would just be focused on how far it's going to come down, right? And things can go sideways too. Like we could see it go sideways a little bit. We could see this pullback like we're seeing now, and then some sideways movement, and then we could see continuation upwards, right? It's always a possibility, but right now what the indicators are showing is pretty bearish. We're overbought. The real question is, do we stay overbought and trade sideways up here, or do we start trending down? And more often than not, we don't stay overbought for too long. This is Bitcoin, by the way. You just see it trending down all the time when it gets overbought. Usually we don't stay overbought for that long. So my guess would be a slow grind downwards for Canton. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm expecting right now. A slow down grind or a slow grind downwards, probably something like this. And then you're seeing some slowly grinding down until it's completely sold off, right? So that would look like Canton going down to either 0.077 or down to 0.055. I'm leaning more towards 0.055 because this thing launched at such an enormous market cap. If you actually take the circulating supply, you could multiply it by different prices here, and then you'll get the market cap. So, for instance, we're at 0.09719, right? So we multiply that by 0.0. Let me do that again. 0.09719, and then you can see we have give or take around the same market cap, but I didn't refresh it before I did it, so I probably should have refreshed it, but it doesn't matter. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at here, and then you see as I refresh it here, now it's at 3.5 million, like we were talking about. What we're gonna do is take 5.055 and then do this. Like, the market cap would still be extremely high if this thing pulls back, and that's the problem. I think it's going to drop. The market cap is still going to be extremely high even if it comes back to 0.055. The market cap will still be extremely high. Currently, the market cap is at 3.5 billion. If it goes down to 0.055, now it's at 1.99 billion, which is pretty much 2 billion, right? So pretty much $2 billion market cap at 0.055. That's why I think that we could start selling off and that it could start trending downwards. Now, if they truly are connected to the Fed in some type of way, the Fed just now printed like $42 billion, and they're going to do that every month now for some, well, not for some reason, because we already know what's going on, the inflation thing, but they're going to be printing a bunch of money. So maybe they start looking at some tokenized securities. Maybe they start looking at tokenized U.S. treasuries, right? U.S. treasury securities. So if this gets adopted at a large rate, I could see this thing being big, like really big. But honestly, right now is not the time to be launching, which is why I think that it's going to start trending downwards. But everyone in the crypto industry has their eyes on this project. And institutional adoption is what they're going for. As you can see on this tweet, it says, real momentum toward institutional adoption happens when infrastructure meets regulation at scale. Excited to welcome further asset management to the Canton network as we expand validator participation and market infrastructure in the Middle East. So now they're looking at institutional investors in the Middle East. Like, they're looking at the big money in the Middle East. So it's no wonder that they're pumping right now. Like, think about it. When you look at it from this perspective, it changes everything. It's up. Well, it was up 44%, but it was up 44% in the last 24 hours, and the trading volume was only 30 million. So that is kind of what, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But there's some big money people in here. That's all I gotta say. Like, when you see something like that, like, the big money people will move it so quickly that you won't even get a chance to get in. But yeah, this thing, when it launched, obviously it launched overpriced like projects always do. And then it already had its bottoming phase here, close to 0.055 before, but it didn't quite reach that. But I think this is phase two. This is phase two. And when it launched, we couldn't see it, but I guarantee it was at that overbought area. We just couldn't see it back here. So this is phase two. Now it's finally overbought again because, like I said before, the blue line is the long-term trend. The long-term trend has not been overbought since it was back here, but it won't show because this is when it launched. But the long-term trend, when it becomes overbought, then it starts working its way down. So if it took that long to get all the way up there, we're going to see it come all the way back down. What goes up must come down. It's probably going to end up coming down. I don't know if it'll come all the way down. Like I said, if maybe it'll stop at 0.077 or 0.055. If it stops at 0.077, maybe it increases, but I don't think so. I think is going to go to down to 0.055 and then continue downwards from there. So that's how I see it. But yeah, this is all I got for you guys today. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, I'll be back with another video.